welcome back to the show. Our topic here with your host, Mister. And today, as you can see, getting a bit of fresh air, out of the office, loving it, feeling good. Hope you are too. Now on today's show, we're going to take a look at Pompeii. You're probably thinking, well, we know all about Pompeii, but take a look at this, because we got a ways to go. And I'm sure you don't want to watch me ride in the back of this truck, so watch this. We'll be right back. Finally arriving, my main focal point here is to get the background of these two cities, to see what happened, to see if we can find a correlation between Pompeii Herculaneum and Sodom and Gomorrah. Let's find out what these two civilizations were doing right before they met their fate. Pompeii was a prosperous town near Naples in southern Italy. It was a commercial center, population of around 20,000. On August 24th, 79 AD, within a 24-hour period, Pompeii was covered in 5 meters of pumice and ash. Let's start with religion. Let's see how the Romans worshiped. Let's see who they worship. Let's see what they worship. The Romans of Pompeii believed in polytheism, which was the worship of many gods. They worshiped their idols in many different ways to include sacrifice, rituals, offerings, and festivals. Being that they discovered a temple of Isis in Pompeii, we know that Egyptians had a strong influence on their religion, being that the Romans conquered Egypt around 30 BC. Now all we have to do is walk around and find each one of these temples of these deities of the ancient Roman times in Pompeii. Jupiter in Roman mythology negotiates with Numa Pompilius, the second king of Rome, to set rules of Roman religion like sacrifice. He was thought to have originated a sky deity with the signature thunderbolt and the sacred animal being the eagle because it ruled over other birds. It became the main symbol in the Roman army. Jupiter was equivalent to the Greek Zeus. Venus in Roman mythology was associated with love, beauty, sex, fertility, prosperity, desire, and victory. She was considered to be the mother of Rome through her son Aeneas, who was the Trojan son of Prince Anchises. Here we are at the Temple of Minerva. Minerva in Roman mythology was associated with poetry, medicine, wisdom, commerce, weaving, magic, and crafts. Here we have the Temple of Apollo. Apollo in Roman mythology was associated with music, poetry, art, archery, oracles, sun, plague, knowledge, light, and medicine. Apollo was one of the most important deities in Greek and Roman mythology. He was said to have been a prophetic deity. Here we have Juno. Juno in Roman mythology was queen of the deities. Being associated with marriage and childbirth, she was the daughter to Saturn and sister to Jupiter. She is the mother of Mars and Vulcan, who is interesting because this is actually what the volcanoes were called up until this eruption. Vulcan in Roman mythology was the deity of fire, to include forge, metalworking, and volcanoes. Interesting thing is, just the day before this happened, they were celebrating a festival in his honor. The Romans would hold festivals to worship him to keep fires from their crops. The festivals would include games and bonfires to sacrifice small animals and fish. That was one of many pagan holidays the Romans celebrated. Okay, that was just a tiny part of their religion. We didn't cover all of their religion, but that's a big no-no right there in itself. Now let's walk around and see if we can find something that maybe can reveal a little bit of the sexuality of Pompeii. What's this? This looks to be a brothel. The Lupanar of Pompeii, according to Wiki, was the most famous brothel in Pompeii. Apparently, brothels weren't the only things uncovered revealing the sexuality of Pompeii. One particular Domenico Fontana in 1599 found erotic art, but he quickly reburied the art, for he deemed it was a bit too perverse for his day and age. Mythological symbols of sex found in bedrooms in Pompeii. According to Wiki, it was believed that the ancient Romans had an unlimited sexual license. Roman religion actually looked at sexuality as a sense of prosperity. Prostitution was legal and very common back in those days. So now let's compare the two. We already know Pompeii. We know idolatry. We know sexual immorality. Now let's take a quick recap of Sodom, because I'm pretty sure everyone knows the story, but... Now Lot met two angels in the form of man, and he urged him to stay at his place for the night. Now men young and old of Sodom and Gomorrah got wind that these two men, angels in the form of men, were staying at Lot's house, and buried his door, pounding, demanding that these two men would come out. Lot offered these raging men his two virgin daughters, but the men refused and continued to shout and rage and push past Lot that they might know these two men. The two angels came out and blinded the men and warned Lot to get him and his family out of the city. Now that's the story of Lot and his family in Genesis chapter 19. And we'll top off sexual immorality with a scripture you can find in Jude chapter 1 verse 7. Even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them in like manner, giving themselves over to fornication and going after strange flesh, are set forth for an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire. Now we'll take a look at the idolatry side. So we'll take a look at Ezekiel chapter 17 verses 47 through 49. That's going to give us a closer look at the idolatry that went on in Sodom and Gomorrah. 47. Yet hast thou not walked after their ways, nor done after their abominations, but as if that were a very little thing, thou wast corrupted more than they in all thy ways. As I live, said the Lord Most High God, Sodom thy sister hath not done, she nor her daughters, as thou hast done, thou and thy daughters. Behold, this was the iniquity of thy sister, Sodom, pride, fullness of bread, and the abundance of idleness was in her and in her daughters. Neither did she strengthen the hand of the poor and needy. We see the sins of the land from those two generations. Do we have that kind of sin in the land today? Topic. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, baby.